I want to do a few comments on entrepreneurship and health. I think definitely as far as the fourth industrial revolution is concerned, it has a lot to offer us in the healthcare sector in developing countries. And we do see that with quite a lot of innovations as far as healthcare is concerned. One of the big barriers to getting healthcare to people is just poor in developing countries. Is poor infrastructure and the high cost of transport, high cost of human resources and health. And I think that the various, now with smartphones, not that smartphones are universal in Uganda as yet, we have to accept that, but with the technology that the smartphone brings, and with task shifting, and with algorithms, big data, and artificial intelligence, there's and nanotechnology, which was also mentioned too. There are so many things that I think are going to help us to leapfrog as far as third world developing countries are concerned to be much more effective in our healthcare distribution. And of course, everybody talks about universal health care, getting to the bottom of the pyramid. How do you do that? It has to be very cheap. And I think some of these technologies are poised to bring us lower down the pyramid, certainly. Both in terms of payment mechanisms, in terms of laboratory testing, which is I looked at somebody showed me it's basically an iPad or a tablet, should I say, not just an iPad, with a little plug-in, which can do, of course, they can do a HbA1c, they can do lipid profile, and all for very low cost and very, it's really near patient testing that can, that technology can be adapted as well to neuro testing. So if you put those things together, we really have a landscape. We're in the future. I don't think we're there yet, but in the future, we will really see leapfrogging of interesting healthcare solutions, which will be very applicable to developing countries.
There are exciting technologies that are now really cool to talk about, virtual reality and things like that. But then one thing that we should not forget is that we are in a country and a number of countries where some people are not yet up to that stage where they can benefit from these technologies. And so what my team is continually trying to do is how can you use the basic platforms like SMS, like voice calls that people think are out of date, but be able to learn as much as possible, regarding how they can be used to bring equity in healthcare access, so that somebody who is not like technologically very savvy, as most people here in this room, can be able to benefit. So my mom, my grandmother can be able to still make a voice call and talk to a doctor or seek health information. They can still receive an SMS, whether they have the cheapest phone of $10, $15, and this is the same application that somebody who has a phone of $2,000 can use. So I think that is important, that as we think about the cooler technologies that are, in a population like ours, we don't leave some people behind. The other interesting thing that is always to be considered is a place of entrepreneurship and these technologies within healthcare. And healthcare is very unique and interesting because unlike other industries and other sectors, healthcare is largely regulated. There are very many stakeholders that need to be considered when developing technologies and considering their applications. So, if you are a fan of, technology books and speeches and Silicon Valley talk, it's all about to move fast and break things and learn. But in healthcare, it's not exactly applicable. You can't move fast and break things because there are people's lives at stake. There are things like that. There's a very big chance that there'll be a failure for adoption of a really, really expensive technology because you didn't take time to map out the different stakeholders that this technology is going to serve, and this could be the patients, the doctors, the administrators of the hospitals that are going to take up this technology, insurance companies, the Ministry of Health, the regulators, and things like that. So those are unique things that always have to be considered within healthcare. And then the last piece that I want to touch on in these opening remarks is how ready are we in terms of training and technical capacity to be able to provide adequate regulation for these technologies. So for example, I'll give you an example that for anyone who is familiar with research, you have to get approvals from institutional review boards, from the Uganda National Council of Science and Technology. But increasingly, I as somebody who has, over time gained a bit more skills in the technology side of things, I feel like a number of things are coming up, and the teams that are evaluating these researches or the applications of these technologies are not exactly equipped to provide optimal guidance on how they can be used. A lot of the stuff that is coming out on the application of things like artificial intelligence is still from academic institutions like Makerere. Students are pushing out a lot more stuff than traditional institutions, and yet, the people who are regulating these things may not, at this point, have a very good understanding of the technologies and the extent to which these technologies can go when they are in people's hands. So, those are the considerations when you're thinking about healthcare entrepreneurship in the era of the fourth industrial revolution.
I think the first medicines or tablets we take are food. So when we think about health, innovation, and entrepreneurship, right now, long time ago, we were just eating anything, maybe because we have all the money. But right now, we're very cautious. Everyone needs to eat the best thing that will provide them with everything nutritious. Now, even when I go to Dr. Ian Clark, he will tell me, oh, you have to eat this, you have to eat this, you have to eat greens, you have to eat. So like in my world, in the food world, we do a lot of, there's a lot of innovations to make sure that we grow food, healthy food, and when we grow healthy food, everyone will eat this healthy food. So now, what happens when we are going to, what everyone is advocating now is, let's for example, we have a problem with cancer right now, but there's something to do with, I think it's called, I don't know how they call it scientifically, but it's called sour sop. In Uganda, it's called vegetafeli. Sour sop. I want Dr. Ian Clark to know it.
I can only get this to you.
Yeah. So it's a fruit, but it's right now, even when anyone falls sick of cancer, they would say that, can you eat sour sop? Can you take beetroot? Can you take carrots? Can you take cabbage? Can you take wheatgrass? All this is helping us live healthy. And now when it comes to the youth or someone, because we are running away from the drugs, it's very good to take drugs, and actually cancer drugs are quite expensive, but if we eat well, if we grow the things, if we farmers grow the things for use and you eat them well, then you are going to be better people. Now, when I came in earlier, I had, there was something to do with, everyone was saying artificial intelligence. In my world, AI means artificial insemination. And then, yeah, it's another time. But what happens is that, again, a lot of innovations and technologies help us provide the best foods out there for you, or when we're doing artificial insemination, so that we're getting better genetics from one place to another, so that we actually provide food. So when you think about entrepreneurship, there are so many other things that are there for especially the youth or the women or even men to provide or to grow. Now, take for example, these products, I think Tianchi, GNLD, and forever living. All these products are about food. And actually there are so many groups out there which are bringing people, they keep calling us that you come and listen, but it's all about food. So there's so much we can do with food, and then it goes to our health, and we can actually still make money, because these products I'm talking about, it's a money-making venture. It's health, money-making, and entrepreneurship. Thank you.
For two reasons, I think health and entrepreneurship go together. For the one, we're never going to meet our economic targets as a country unless we have a healthy workforce. So it's important that we support each other as the private sector and the health sector to make sure that the Ugandans in the workforce are healthy and capable and able. And also because in the healthcare sector, innovation is happening so much. Innovation is a big part of business, and it's something we interact with every day. And luckily in the health sector, things are changing so fast. When we see different startups like in Rwanda with the drones or with the AI here and the augmented reality, it's very encouraging. Because from a business perspective, Africa has been able to leapfrog many of the traditional milestones developed countries have had because of technology, like with M-Pesa and banking. So hopefully with the healthcare as well, we will be able to jump some of the things other countries had to go through and get better solutions to the last mile faster and more effectively than we've been able to do before. And that can happen very quickly if we take a business angle. I agree with the Silicon Valley attitude can't work exactly with the healthcare sector, but it's still the drive and the speed and the push that makes it move faster than in any other sector. And that has a big effect with healthcare because it's lives at stake. So one of the big things we advocate in Simba Group is about training and skills, because knowledge is something that you can give someone and they can carry for the rest of their lives. That impact is going to carry with their whole community. So I know for most of the ailments we have here in Uganda, about 80% of them are treated by nurses every day. We don't need as many doctors as traditionally we should, but the knowledge and the training we can get to nurses these days because of access to internet or different types of last mile distribution makes a huge difference in every small village and parish across the country. And having worked in rural areas and seeing the differences in the access with the infrastructure, the healthcare, and even just the general distance and space, the more we can innovate and work together from the private sector and the healthcare sector, I think the impact will be much more great for the future.
I won't say very much about myself because I'm going to talk later on, but I think in terms of entrepreneurship, if you look at a lot of the tables that are published on global entrepreneurship, Uganda is almost always at the top somewhere. Right? And I've often wondered, I'm a Ugandan too, I've often wondered, are we really that entrepreneurial? And of course, if you talk to our staff, they're all doing more than one thing. Right? So yes, we are entrepreneurial, but those tables never actually talk about how many companies go bust. And I think the reality is that we start a whole lot of things, and then a few months later, we've gone bust. And I'll talk a little bit more about it in terms of some of the issues we have there. And what it raises is that we've got to also look at commercially. We're talking about technology, of course, that's going to drive our progress, but we've got to constantly think, especially the young guys here, and the young girls here, you've got to think of how are you going to make your project sustainable, right? Are you thinking cash flow? Are you thinking profitability? Because without that, it's just going to become another academic exercise. So I think that's one of the key issues. The second thing is, particularly in health, we have so many massive problems, right? And most of you are probably more aware than I am. Everywhere you go, we've got problems. Not enough drugs, not enough doctors, not enough nurses, all sorts of things. We're only going to be able to tackle it if the private sector, public sector, civil society all work together. And I think that's going to be even more important with AI and blockchain technology and things coming through. We will need the government to come up with policies that are enablers so that we can make things happen within a framework of policy. So that's my vision. Thank you.
Great. Ladies and gentlemen, before us we are privileged to have leading entrepreneurs in our country, and many of whom are interfacing with the health sector. So this is a great opportunity for us to hear from them. And the way we're going to structure this session is that I will ask a few questions, you'll share your mind, and then we'll open it up to the audience. So I'll start by asking Nazim, and I'll touch on what you were just referring to. Then I'll ask Natalie as well to speak about young entrepreneurs. But starting with you, Nazim, what are the areas of opportunity, areas for growth that you can see in Uganda's health sector over the next, say, 5 to 10 years?
Right. I think, very good question. There are loads of potential areas of growth. If you look at just where I'm coming from, which is manufacturing good quality medicines for our region, the whole area of supply chain, from getting raw materials on time to actually producing the final product and getting it to the last mile, huge opportunities, really, huge opportunities, because we are very inefficient. Our processes are very inefficient. So if somebody was, or people were to look at that in a bit more depth, I'm sure we can figure out chunks of those supply chain where we can improve. Right? So that's one area. The whole area of local production is a huge opportunity, although it's massively resource intensive. Today, I think most of you are already aware that in East Africa, we only produce 20% of the medicines that we use. So if you're a marketing commercial guy like me, you immediately think, hey, we have an 80% market to go for, right? On paper. Many, many challenges, but I think we're beginning to see, and particularly governments, all the East African governments have made some significant changes recently, which is making local manufacturing much more attractive. But unlike some entrepreneurial, here you're talking about $20 million investment, right? So it's not going to be for everyone, but it's possible. Again, think partners. You can't do it on your own. A lot of the things that you're going to be working on, focus on what you're good at, and then bring in somebody who can help you at what you're not very good at. So I think that's another area. So I think those are two areas. The third one is, and Ian knows much better than I, the whole area of sort of financing, medical insurance, which is still quite nascent in our region. So that would be another interesting area to look at.
And I'd like you as a young person to speak about the opportunity for young entrepreneurs. And there are also quite a number of young people in the audience, so we value your insights.
Sure. I really enjoy working with young entrepreneurs. It's one of the tracks that we're trying to do more with that second group, especially because young entrepreneurs now need to come up with homegrown solutions. When I think about healthcare and I compare the healthcare we receive in Western countries, everything is as disposable as possible because of infection and bacteria and the threat of being sued. But here, everything needs to be more durable because you need to work with as many patients as possible. So some of the young entrepreneurs I've interacted with in the healthcare sector are trying to come up with innovations that use technology and these additions that can work with as many people as possible, because our challenge is different from the challenge of someone else. And encouraging young entrepreneurs, we like to support them with business skills and also the opportunities and resources, because they have to go together as we build this ecosystem for young entrepreneurs. There's so much training that happens, and then there's a lack of capital. Or there's so much money available, but they're not equipped to absorb the money or how to use it, or how to grow their business sustainably. And when we look at areas like healthcare, where the solutions are needed urgently, but they also need to be safe, they need to be tested, they need to be much more regulated than other areas of business, we do need support for young entrepreneurs, especially because of the culture we have here where wisdom comes with age and the young ones are not as valued yet. But I think it's an advantage that we have such a young population, because we do learn faster because we have less to lose, and we're able to innovate much faster than previous generations because of the access to information we have. Young people in Uganda now all have access to internet, whether it's through one phone in their group in the village, or they each have WhatsApp or Facebook or Google. So they have access to information from all around the world in almost real time. So they get to see and understand what's happening in other countries and think, how do I make this happen for my own country? There's so many kids you see on YouTube these days that build things at home just from the pieces that they have. They teach themselves engineering from YouTube. And that's happening in Africa and in Uganda, which is very exciting and encouraging. We just need to support them through the system to make sure they're doing it correctly and safely, and they have the support and the resources to carry them forward, because the solutions for the content are going to come from here.
So the question is, how does one ensure that the businesses that we set up are sustainable and inclusive.
In terms of our entrepreneurial activity, it is evident true that Ugandans are always looking. It's because there's such a high unemployment, they're always looking for something to do. Some of what's taken as entrepreneurial activity is really hustling. It's really hustling for a living. That's just a fact of life. And then I think there probably is a huge mortality, using the term mortality, morbidity rate among startups. But anyway, I think as far as my own experience is concerned, what one probably needs, and this is not in terms of innovation, but just entrepreneurship, developing a business and so on, you need grit, you need focus, and you've got to stay with the game. And I often said that, for me, when I think of Uganda, I was in the, broadly speaking, the faith-based aid sector. I came out of the Church Mission Society. And I started a mission hospital, Jogo Hospital, which I'm pleased to say is, still going strong more than 25 years later. But that was very much sustained and sustainable by philanthropic donations from Ireland and goodwill from abroad. And that's why, I did that for 6 years, and I'm happy still to be highly involved with it. It is now developed a nurse training school, laboratory technicians training school. It's a centre of excellence. It has a very good neonatal intensive care unit, but it wouldn't be there apart from Friends Abroad, who meet about 70% of the costs. So that got me to then thinking, but what is development about? Is it about just bringing stuff like that? And that has its place, because those rural poor community wouldn't be able to afford if we were having to charge the real cost of that. But sustainability, then, how do we develop a business that's sustainable, that brings development to this country? And for me, after that sojourn in the aid sector, faith-based sector, then I basically said, well, I'll sell my services. I'll sell myself. I'm a doctor. I've got something professional to offer. And as I sell that, no great rocket science about it. As I sit in my clinic and sell that, what surplus I get, I will then use that to develop better facilities. And I just did that slowly and incrementally over a long period of time until I was able to actually build the International Hospital. And I'm reasonably business savvy. Somebody mentioned about insurance, and I realized that this whole idea of fee for service, it's really a quite outdated way of paying for medical service. Quite expensive actually, and much better to have capitation model, insurance model. And I was one of the first organisations after AAR then to develop a capitation model. I remember once American Embassy HR manager came into my office a long time ago and said, we'd like the budget for the health expenses of our staff. And I've been going around clinics and saying, will you look after our staff? We'll pay you so much per person per year. And they're all refusing me. I said, there was. Because he said, you see, these guys looked at it and he said, let's say he was offering, I can't remember what it was, but let's say it was $100 per person per year. And the clinics said that we charge, $30 on average per consultation. So if this guy, comes in 4 times, we're in a loss. But they didn't work out the fixed marginal cost model for it, and they refused them. I delightfully accepted, and that was the basis of the medical insurance, or really the HMO, that was then developed. But really, if I could say, it's nothing. There's nothing about rocket science. And I saw other doctors who started clinics, and as soon as there was a nice conference like this, they went off and went to the conference, and they left their clinic. Either they could put a sign up on the door, "Not here," or they let somebody else run it. Or I've seen doctors, when you make an appointment with them, they come. There's one good friend of mine, people make appointments with them. He says, "Yes, I'll be there." "What time will you be there?" "11 o'clock." "Yes." You go at 11 o'clock, and then you call them up. "Where are you?" And he says, "I'm in Inverara." It doesn't work in a business model. You see, you have to be consistent. You have to be there. You have to be focused. You have to offer the service. Of course, you have to be professional. and then just incrementally build. And I think if we and this is not about great innovations, honestly, but if we did more of that, then we will build good businesses. The medical concierge group, that's your brainchild, isn't it? Yeah, it's just, and that, it's a new idea to people. And it will take people just being there by the phone, being there, being ready to offer their service. I remember going to my clinic, and I would come back and say, well, how many patients did you do? I saw 3. That was great, because I'd only seen 1 or none the previous day. So it's not rocket science, but I think just consistency, a bit of business savvy, and continuing to build incrementally.
And one of the challenges that most young businesses face is raising financing, raising resources. This is a big, big issue. So I'd like to ask you to share insights to the audience.
So the team that I represent, we started out just 4 of us in 2013, and the team has now grown to about 28 people, and that number is going to double before the end of the year because of the different services and how it's increasing. And it's largely medical professionals. It's doctors, pharmacists, and then software engineers, communications people, and then now we put in on data scientists for a lot of the work. And as you can see, that caliber of people is expensive. So it's not easy to maintain such people, but also what's more interesting is that because you're employing doctors and pharmacists, there are very many other opportunities for them to get jobs. So you're a startup, you probably don't know where next month's salary is going to come, but then there are organizations that you'll get your salary every month, whatever happens. So that is one of the hard things about starting up. And before you even go to raising the money, is that selling the idea to other people within your circles to actually believe in it and leave other more solid opportunities to be able to come and work with you on an idea that starting out you thought would bring in money early on, but then doesn't bring in money. And so when we started out, it was really our own personal savings and resources that started it off. Of course, as many young people, you're overly optimistic, so you think that you're going to put in all this money and then a few months down the road, money is going to start coming in, and then the harsh reality hits you and you run broke, and then you have to maintain a job somewhere and use that salary to pay people elsewhere. Because when we were starting out in 2013, our idea was literally laughable to more people we talked to than we were encouraged. People thought, you guys are crazy. If you're a doctor, you sit in an office, people come see you, that's the natural way of doing things. And isn't that what our training has done for us all those generations and centuries? We think that, if you're in school, you sit somewhere, people line up, they wait for you, even for things as basic information on hand washing and family planning. They have to wait for you for 5 hours for you to tell them techniques for hand washing and things like that. So we thought that was really basic. So a lot of people did not believe in the idea of course starting out. They thought it was not something that was going to last. We decided to stick in there. In Uganda, because a lot of our financing comes from development partners and other institutions, that are not, individuals. We decided to spend some time understanding who finances healthcare in Uganda, and then how can we focus our services to provide value for those institutions so that they can be able to provide us with resources that can help us to subsidize access of these services to the general population. So it was easier to talk to USAID and UNICEF and institutions like that about the value of digital technologies and data-driven healthcare programs than it was to talk to my sister or my mother, on how to pay for a telehealth consultation. And so it started out that way. In Uganda, it's incredibly hard to get financing when you started out as a small company. They are asking for things to assure them of your capability to pay back, but the very things they're asking for are the very things you're trying to create. And it's that credibility, but then that's what they need. Organizations and institutions, Ministry of Health and other players, and we've only been able to onboard one external investor, and it's definitely not Ugandan. Our current needs are much bigger than what a lot of the local entities are able to finance. And so you'll find a lot of organizations or startups that have a much bigger outlook, that are looking to expand to more than one country, looking for financing outside Uganda than from Uganda. It is sad, but that's the reality. We would love to get more local support, because we think there are avenues, there are opportunities that the government or local financing institutions can do the hard work of understanding businesses better, rather than dismissing them because they don't fit their traditional checklists, but they are not doing it. And so you'll find more interesting, companies looking elsewhere. And then eventually, if there are any benefits to be reaped, it will be not the local entities benefit.